Okay, what's up? It's Angela Yee, and we are here doing something a little different just because a friend of mine, Jennifer, and I have been friends since high school, since 10th grade. I saw a post that you have put up on your Instagram about having to deal with, a guy that actually had scammed you. So I saw a lot of people weighing in, and I just wanted to break down from your side, what you're saying happened, how you knew this man, and how he managed to get your Range Rover and what's been going on since then.
Okay, well, I'm gonna try and give you the long short
Warning
version.
y'all, I'm not blaming Jennifer, but she said she had her shit together, so why did he need a car? I feel like there's more holes in this story that they're not actually telling, but hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button. Let's get back at it and talk about it at the bottom.
Basically, I met this man in Atlanta. I've been knowing him for probably it was like a little over a year. And, we developed a relationship. I ended up moving to Atlanta, and I had an issue with the closing on my house. I was leaving out of town. I have 2 vehicles, and he claims that he's a car dealership. So again, this is somebody that I knew. We had a relationship at one point, so I trusted him. I gave him my car to basically put up and hold for me because obviously I can't drive 2 vehicles. And when I got settled into my house, I asked him for my car back, and he would not give me my car back. He stopped answering my phone calls, and my Range Rover basically disappeared. So what I come to find out in doing a little investigating, one, he told me his name was, which was a lie. His name is actually, and the way that I found that out was I had to actually Google his mother's obituary. And that's when I found what his real name was. I found this article on Lipstick Alley where I connected with Ramona, and I realized that this man has been doing this for quite some time, actually probably 20 years or so.
Wow. Okay, so just to break it down, so you guys have been dating. At that time, were you still in a relationship?
No.
Okay, so this was like an ex, but you guys were still cool. So he was doing you a favor.
Yes, and I moved to Atlanta. I don't know a lot of people there. He was in the car business, and he was like, listen, I can hold a car for you. It's not a big deal. And I was like, okay, like, great. I didn't have anywhere to put the car, and I was leaving out of town. So I figured, all right, well, I'll just give him my car to put up, not to drive around, but just to hold my vehicle. And then he just never gave it back.
Now, some people were saying, I noticed, oh, well, don't you Google somebody when you're dating them? How do you not know this? Had you met any of his family members, any of his friends? And had you Googled the name that he gave you as his name?
Yes, I did Google his name, and nothing comes up because one, it's not his real name. He told me his name was. And what I have learned throughout this whole process is that he goes by different aliases. And so I had met one of his daughters, but I mean, she wasn't gonna tell me his real name, she calls him dad. So I met some people that were his friends, but he goes by Nick. So he doesn't even go by his real name because his last name, so that's just kind of his nickname.
Okay, so now you said you found this article on Lipstick Alley once you discovered what his real name was, and that's what led you to Ramona, right?
Yes.
So Ramona, let's get to you and the article that you wrote, what was in it, and how you and Jennifer connected.
Okay. I was involved with Nick from 2004 until about 2010. In the beginning of 2011, a woman contacted me. I'm not exactly sure how she got my information, but she contacted me, and it turns out that she was the mother of one of his children. We compared stories and talked about, some of the things that he had done, and we realized that this information needed to be out there. When I first got involved with him, just as Jennifer stated, there was nothing on him on the internet. And you can Google everyone and get some information about everyone. So I thought it was kind of interesting that nothing came up. So we decided that we were actually going to develop a web page that had a lot of information about him. He was able to get that web page removed, some years ago. So she also put up ripoff reports in regards to him, and then I chose to post on Lipstick Alley and connect the ripoff report and talk about my dealings with him. The post, only got but so much attention, and it wasn't until most recently that I guess it was brought to Jennifer's attention, and we connected and started to compare stories about this person. Now, I hadn't seen him in over a decade, so I was surprised that he was still doing, these things.
So what is it that he did to you, like specifically?
Well, when I met him, just as Jennifer has stated, he gave me a different name. He actually told me his name was Nick Clark. And maybe a few months into the relationship, I found out that his name was actually Aaron Nichols. At the time, he told me he was a retired athlete. He told me, and of course, that you couldn't Google that. He told me that he was involved in numerous businesses, and I did see, the luxury cars, and there was a lot in Las Vegas that housed a number of these luxury cars. At the time, I had my own car, my own vehicle that I was making payments on, and he stated, if we're going to be in a relationship, we should upgrade your car. And I told him, I'm still making payments on the car. He suggested that we return the car and then just get a new car. So I felt uneasy about that, but I gave him my car to return to the dealership. He never did. The car just kind of disappeared, and I was still making payments on it. I was making payments on it until, it was a charge off. Now, at the time, again, I was still in a relationship with him, so I was in other vehicles. He had me in numerous luxury cars. So even though I was still making payments on the other car, I really didn't just think much of it. There were other instances where he would ask for me to pick up a luxury car in a certain state and then deliver it to a different state. He stated again that he was a dealer, and these were people that were leasing or financing or purchasing the cars from him. Now, the places where I picked up these cars were dealerships, but they weren't his.
Right.
He also stated that he had a cleaning company. He stated that, he had different foundations. So he had a number of businesses, but all of the businesses were attached to a post office box that I used as well. There were no physical addresses for any of these buildings, for any of these businesses. But again, this was the person I chose to be in a relationship with, so I believed him when he told me whatever it was. At the conclusion of the relationship, as I mentioned when I spoke with the mother of one of his children, that's when we found out that, again, all of these things were fictitious, and he had been doing this to a number of women. And that's why we chose to put that post up.
Now, what happened when both of you contacted the police, or did you contact the police? Then what happened?
Well, okay, for me, so obviously my